Well, hello all you miniatures lovers. I'm Dakian. It's Monday, the 23rd of August 2021, and I'm ready to ramble about miniatures. This is the entire finished batch for this past week. Not a huge lot. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not everything I had prepped either. There's still a few left from what I started last Monday. But I have completed mostly Malifaux miniatures. The exception is this Reaper figure, the prospector who's happy to have struck gold, dancing around. Then we have, as I said, Malifaux. We have a guild sergeant. I couldn't get the shine out of him for some reason. He didn't react to the varnish like the others. I mean, this guy's more metal on him, but it looks more matte. This is Von Schill, the commander of the Freikorps. And then we have some gremlins. We have Caravage with his suicide pig. They're a bit awkwardly placed on the base. They are not well balanced. I should have placed him slightly further back, I realize now, but oh well. I try to fill it out with some bushes. We have the giant mosquito flying around, and you'll notice that the flight stand was too big to actually fit into the body of the model, so I drilled into the flight stand and inserted a little bit of brass rod, and that pinned into the miniature. Hopefully you don't think too much about it when you're looking at it. And finally, there's this little dude here who is giving you an obscene gesture. The traditional English archers taunt towards the French, and he's holding somewhat awkwardly this rifle, but oh well. For a week where I worked at my job and also was sort of out of commission almost regarding painting for about 24 hours, because last Monday I took my second shot of the Moderna vaccine against COVID-19, and took it in the middle of the day about lunchtime, and in the evening I started to feel a reaction, and that lasted about 24 hours. And the reaction was basically feeling like I was hungover, like I had a very heavy aching head, and every muscle in the rest of my body felt tired, like wrung out. Luckily, I didn't have to do any work on Tuesday. It was just preparations before students arrived. So I could get away with working from home, and I didn't paint anything. I just kind of did some reading and watched some YouTube videos. So it was a relaxing day. But anyway, that slowed down my painting progress a little bit. But enough about my troubles. Let's look at what the future has in store in the form of miniatures to paint. Here is the unfinished business for this week. These models, the Malifaux Avatar Perdita, and these 3 bombshell miniatures. They're not, I mean, there's some base coats on there. There's been a little work done, and I have a pretty good idea of what to do to finish them up. The most interesting experimental will be the diver. The studio paint job has an interesting sort of green metallic scheme that I think I might try to do something similar. I'll have to experiment a bit to get those colors. But that's part of the fun of this hobby, is learning how to do new things. Yeah, not much else to say really. Hopefully you'll see them finished next week. So these are the monsters from that company, the Huegorama, as it was called, the Spanish company, the Kickstarter. They've been prepped and based and primed, and as maybe you can tell, they've been airbrush primed. The problems I had with the airbrush last week, I managed to get it working again by soaking the whole thing in airbrush cleaner overnight and then running it through my ultrasonic cleaner for, you know, the maximum time it can run is 10 minutes, so I ran it twice for a total of 20, and then I scrubbed it thoroughly. And it's spraying again. It's spraying weakly, and as in a weak spray, not much pressure, and at an odd angle, it's tilted upwards, so it's spraying like the top half of, if it's supposed to spray a circle, it's only spraying the top half of it. So there's still some sort of blockage. There's still some the way I see it is that like there must be some really old and ingrained paint there. I might have to keep cleaning it even more, and of course because I clean it so thoroughly, all the lubricant's gone from the trigger assembly, so now I probably have to lube that up again because it tends to stick a bit. That's not a big issue. The spray is the bigger problem. Anyway, these models look good. Unfortunately, they're not fun to work with because the resin they've chosen to go with is an extremely soft one. It's almost like old Reaper bones. Not quite that soft, but it's not fun. It's really hard to get mold lines off. There's still some on the Displacer Beast that I just couldn't do anything with. And yeah, I just did not enjoy the experience. So I'm not going to be buying anything from this company again unless I hear that they make a radical change in which plastics they're using. Sorry guys, that's just the way it is. But anyway, we'll get cracking on painting these pretty soon. Well, we can't have something new arriving in the mail every week because then I would never catch up with my painting. So, good thing I didn't get anything new this week. There are several packages I have received confirmation that they are on their way to me now. I have tracking on them. The tracking information is unfortunately not very informational. It just says, well, it's left the departure, place of departure. And the next thing I will get a notification of is when it, crosses the border and arrives in Sweden. And there's no knowing how long that will take. So, in the meantime, picking up some old projects. These are some Lovecraftian Cthulhuoid miniatures for a game called Strange Aeons, but by a company called Uncle Mike's. They seem to be defunct now. The website is still up, but they haven't published anything new in a couple of years, actually. So I'm kind of... There's still some sets I have left to buy from them, but I'm kind of worried. I'm uncertain whether I should place an order with them, simply because they haven't updated the website in so long, whether that's safe. And also, they're in the US, and costs of shipping and customs and taxes and the like are prohibitive. But this is the final batch of stuff I have from them, which, as I mentioned, was for this miniature game, this skirmish game called Strange Aeons. That's what they're designed for, but they can be used for any Cthulhuoid Lovecraftian game. This is the last unpainted batch I have, and this is two sets. This bag contains the set of Deep Ones and Deep One hybrids, including a cloaked figure in a wheelchair, Then there is what was known as the graveyard set, which, as you can see, contains a lot of gravestones, a sarcophagus, and various ghosts and ghouls, and undead dogs. Then there was this extra. These were some bonus minis that came with that order. One of them is some kind of investigator. Another duplicate of the dog, of one of the undead dogs. A weird creature that I've painted once before. I don't forget what it's called. We have a rat thing. I think it's Brown Jenkin. And there is a sacrificial goat figure. Now, this is too much stuff to paint in 1 week, so I'm not starting up all of these. I have not yet decided exactly which ones, but I'll pick out some amount of these, maybe a third to a half of these, and start them up for next week. Again, for some variety. I've been painting some fantasy stuff, some Malifaux stuff. Now time for some Cthulhu stuff. And we'll see what happens next week. Which is a good segue, because I have nothing more to say about this week. We're at the end of the episode. So please give it a thumbs up, and comment, and subscribe. And above all, join me again a week from today. Same day of the week, same channel, same Dakian. Who for now is signing off.